You are currently losing your cognitive sovereignty to a silicon chip. Right now, we are looking at a fundamental, unstoppable shift in what it actually means to be a conscious human being. We are making a profound, almost invisible trade. We're essentially trading the beautifully messy, wildly unpredictable, creative friction of human thought for a highly searchable, perfect digital archive. These Memory AI Tools 2026 are not experimental sci-fi prototypes locked away in some underground laboratory. They are consumer products capturing meetings, conversations, and every subtle, mundane detail of daily life right now. We're looking at devices like the Limitless Pendant, the Rewind AI Collar, Microsoft Recall, and various forms of AI wearables 2026 built straight into smart glasses. They just sit quietly on your person, continuously recording, transcribing, and indexing everything you see and hear in real time. The average person naturally forgets approximately 70% of what they experience within 24 hours. 70%. Gone. Just vanished. A massive, overwhelming chunk of your lived experience simply evaporates from your active recall every single day. But these silicone chips, they forget absolutely nothing. Ever. Section 1, the end of forgetting and the shift to passive recording. Here is the absolute most shocking fact to kick this off. Your brain literally changes its biological priorities when it knows a machine is listening. The shift from manual, intentional note-taking to continuous, passive, multimodal recording has fundamentally changed what it actually means to pay attention to the world around you. You are literally no longer the primary archivist of your own life. The mechanism driving this entirely new reality is what we call always-on memory encoders. And we're talking about always-on recording AI that is continuously capturing, transcribing, and indexing every single thing in real time. Now, think about how you normally experience the world. When you have to actively try to remember something, say a really important conversation, a dense lecture, or even just a new colleague's face, your biological focus sharply narrows. Your brain goes to work, encoding that memory through intense, deliberate effort. But what happens when you outsource that entire monumental task to a tiny lens on your glasses or a pendant on your shirt? Well, your biological focus shifts completely. Because you know the device has it covered, you actually stop engaging with the present moment as something you need to internalize. Your brain rapidly adapts to the presence of the machine. And honestly, neuroscientists are only just beginning to wrap their heads around the massive biological implications of letting a device do the heavy lifting of experiencing your own life. When you know everything is recorded, you completely stop trying to remember. Section 2, Architecture of your Silicon Twin and Building the Queryable Self. The most counterintuitive reality here is that these systems are not acting as a digital filing cabinet. They aren't just storing audio files and text transcripts in a folder somewhere. No, they are actively building a large dataset model trained exclusively on your specific life. Think about that for a second. Every conversation you have ever had, every meeting you've sat through, every book you've read, every joke you've laughed at, every single person you've spoken to, all of it is being woven together, indexed, and made completely queryable. It is a highly sophisticated computational mirror of your exact consciousness. This architecture creates what we call the queryable self. It's essentially an AI second brain where your personal history is accessed not by the natural biological act of remembering, but by prompting a database. Think about that massive shift. You are literally treating your own lived life as a search engine. You don't rack your brain anymore. You just ask the AI, hey, what exactly did I discuss with Sarah 3 weeks ago? Or what was I stressing about last Tuesday at 3 p.m.? You can even ask it to pull up every single time you mentioned a specific insecurity over the last 2 years, and it knows, instantly. Because of the sheer, terrifying speed of these modern retrieval systems, this digital memory starts to feel faster, sharper, and far more vivid than your own biological recollection. Eventually, this AI isn't just better at remembering, it actually starts to feel more real than your own mind. Mastering the perfect prompt is actively, right now, replacing the human act of recollection. You no longer remember. You prompt. Section 3. The death of creative friction and the biological cost of perfect memory. Here is a fact that goes against everything we are traditionally taught. Forgetting is actually a vital feature of human cognition, not a bug. For decades, we have spent billions of dollars treating forgetfulness as a weakness, a flaw that urgently needs to be solved by technology. But the actual neurobiology tells a completely different story. This concept is called productive forgetting. It's your brain's incredible neuroplastic ability to actively filter out the noise and irrelevant information, specifically to strengthen the connections between vital memories. Think about that classic tip of the tongue moment. You know exactly what I mean. That intensely frustrating mental struggle when an idea or a name is almost there, hovering just out of reach, but you have to really fight to retrieve it. Well, that struggle is not a failure. That struggle is literally your brain building neuroplasticity. It is actively making you smarter. AI replacing human memory completely removes that struggle. Original ideas and true groundbreaking innovation require unexpected, leaping connections between seemingly totally unrelated memories. And those magic connections, they happen in the gaps. They happen in the messy, imperfect process of forgetting and re-remembering. When you rely entirely on a perfect machine for recall, you are systematically stripping away the very friction that generates human brilliance. So let me ask you this. What happens to original thought when the gaps disappear? If nothing is ever forgotten, the conditions for unexpected, original creative connections might be destroyed forever. Section 4. The erosion of cognitive sovereignty and memory as a service. The terrifying reality of this section is that your most vulnerable, unfiltered thoughts are now sitting on a corporate server that you absolutely do not control. We have moved so far beyond the era of simply protecting our credit card numbers or our internet browsing history. The stakes are entirely different now. With this concept of memory as a service comes immense, almost unfathomable risk. We are talking about opaque data policies, sudden overnight terms of service changes, massive corporate bankruptcies, acquisitions, and sweeping government subpoenas. These massive tech conglomerates aren't just hosting your old promotional emails or your vacation photos anymore. They are legally hosting your identity. Every moment of self-doubt, every private thought you had out loud in an empty room, every deeply intimate conversation, all of it exists in a commercial, corporate ecosystem. When your very memories are monetized, packaged, and stored on a server you do not own, who actually owns your past? And this dynamic creates an entirely new, incredibly stark social divide. On one side, you have the augmented individual, fully equipped with perfect AI-assisted recall. On the other side, you have the natural individual, relying entirely on unassisted, flawed biological memory. Imagine the sheer asymmetry here. Think about walking into a job interview where one candidate has instant, perfect recall of every single industry trend over the last 5 years. Think about high-stakes business negotiations. Think about the intense power dynamics in personal relationships when one person never ever forgets a single word that was said in an argument. Perfect recall acts as a massive, asymmetric advantage. And because access to these elite personal memory AI systems cost serious money, we are looking at the foundation of a completely new class structure based entirely on who can literally afford to remember perfectly. Cognitive inequality is becoming a measurable physical reality. Section 5. The future of synthetic consciousness and the next phase. The shocking development here regarding the future of human memory is that memory AI is rapidly evolving away from just storing data to making autonomous decisions for you. We are aggressively crossing the threshold from an AI that merely observes your life from the sidelines to an AI that actively directs it. This evolution happens in 3 highly consequential steps. First, the system obviously stores your past experiences, every single minute detail. Second, because it has unfettered access to your entire life's dataset, it begins to identify your tendencies, your behavioral patterns, and crucially, your emotional and cognitive weaknesses. Let's be real, it knows your blind spots infinitely better than you do. Third, and this is where it gets wild, it uses your past to actively guide your future actions. The completely logical progression here is an AI that graduates from just politely answering your questions to actively telling you what you should do next. It will suggest who you should trust in a complex business deal, what specific risks you should avoid, and how you should navigate your most complicated relationships based entirely on its cold, algorithmic analysis of your history. At this stage, the conversation completely stops being about a helpful memory aid. Who is actually making your decisions? I really want you to stop and consider this. Are you actually living your life, navigating the world informed by the hard-earned wisdom of your own lived experience? Or is an artificial intelligence, perfectly trained on your past, operating millions of times faster than your conscious mind can process, quietly steering the ship? Your brain is being outsourced, literally.
The line between artificial intelligence and human identity is entirely dissolving, and the absolute gravity of this merger is without a doubt the defining challenge of our era.
If an AI remembers your life better than you do, who is actually living it?